Hi, Chris Ochner here. Just an average Joe, small-time real estate investor who acquired a new property and decided to look into property management. So I'm going to tell you about my experience with Evernest Property Management. So I used their service for a little over 2 months, and there were quite a number of interactions. So I'm first just going to give you a purely objective accounting of this went on, this happened, and this happened. Then I'm going to give you a grade, A through F, and finally some of my personal recommendations for anybody who might be thinking about signing a contract with Evernest. All right, let's dive in. So quick background, I have a small portfolio. I've managed several properties myself successfully. Not that hard, but acquired a property, wanted to expand into a new market, didn't really have the infrastructure there, so thought that, all right, until I get my feet wet and have a portfolio of contractors and so on, let me hire a management company, and for the approximately 10% they take, that'll probably be worth saving all the time and aggravation of doing it myself. So I hit the internet, I did some research, and Evernest was the highest rated, at least according to Evernest, but they were pretty convincing. So I did talk to one of their management specialists, enrollment specialists, whatever they're called. They seemed pretty convincing. They seemed to have their stuff together. So I was sold, and off we went, signed the contract, and underway to my first property management experience with Evernest. Unfortunately, that conversation was the last conversation where Evernest was at all responsive or reasonable. From day one, Evernest failed at even basic property management functions. For this property, I had a full pre-purchase inspection that I paid for, a professional inspector, so on, and I sent that to them, and I said, here are the specific things that I would like fixed, and let's work together and get estimates and do them. And they said, no, you have to pay for us. We need to redo the inspection. Okay, fine. However, they charged me multiple times for the same inspection, something that they even admitted to later on, but never fixed. I never saw that money again. So I requested immediately that we get estimates and get this stuff fixed, and so we can get tenants in. Obviously, that's the name of the game. It wound up taking over 6 weeks to get estimates for really relatively minor repairs. It felt like that should have been a week, maybe. Finally, we got estimates in, paid everything up front right away within 10 minutes of them saying, we need this, here's your estimate. I just said, go. I fully embraced this, not worrying about it, just take care of everything kind of mentality. Had everything paid up front, and so they had an estimate that everything would take approximately 1 week to get done. So a week went by with no information. I followed up, no response. 2 weeks went by with no information. I followed up, no response. I then wrote a letter saying, I'm a little concerned about the lack of responsiveness. Finally, week 3, I was told that everything had been completed. However, that turned out to not be so. At this point, a new manager contacted me through email saying the prior person that I was working with was no longer with Evernest. She would be taking over. I'd understood that things hadn't gone very smoothly and promised to make up for lost time and so on. And so we were off to the races, and I was confident again. But again, unfortunately, promise is good, execution not as much. And so after having been informed that the prior notification that the work had been complete was false, I started to follow up to see where we're at. Are things almost done? Are they what's done, what's not done? Followed up, no response, followed up, no response, followed up. I followed up 10 times before finally being informed a full month after estimated completion time that everything had actually been completed. I then received notice that every single AC unit, no central AC, all window units, there was 6 or 7 of them throughout the house, every single unit needed replacing. That seemed odd to me because I had asked the selling agent to stop by. I knew it was close by, would do me a favor, and he reported they were all working fine. I then reported that back to Evernest saying, hey, I just had somebody there last week. It said they were all fine. You're telling me they're all broken, like not a single one is working? They said, okay, we'll check it out. They then charged me $100 to go turn on the AC units, and then informed me that in fact, they were all working. when I inquired as to why I had to pay $100 for them to turn on the machines and find out that they actually didn't work prior to their prior report, they said, well, in fact, the living room unit didn't work. That needed replacing. Okay. So I ordered that. Kitchen needed a refrigerator. I ordered those two things, had them sent to the property. And we had just signed another contract for an additional contractor to do some additional work. It was several $1,000s worth of work, and this was a window unit that the old one came out, this one popped in, and refrigerators pretty much didn't lift up the box and plug it in. So I asked whether they could add that to the ticket as a line item, right? So for the contractor, they said, we'll find out. It seems like a reasonable request, we'll find out. Never got back to me, charged me $350 to install it themselves, which I found out about when I got my next owner statement. Okay, great so far. Let's keep going. Gas service, utilities, right? Gas was supposed to be turned on. I called, set up an appointment with the gas company, called them. They said, no problem, we'll have somebody there. Confirmed it with them again, saying somebody's definitely gonna be here. Here's your window. They're gonna call you ahead of time. And no word. And so that came and went. I followed up a couple days later and I said, hey, gas is on, right? They said, well, actually, no response. And I followed up again, no response. And I followed up again and they said, no, gas wasn't turned on. I said, any reason? What are you gonna tell me? It's an important thing because I also needed to replace the gas powered HVAC heating unit. Okay, no, all right, no problem. I'll set up another appointment. Confirmed again twice that they would make an appointment. They would be there. They had somebody, had them 2 people. There was a backup person that was gonna be there in case the first person couldn't make it. I was rest assured, taken care of, no problem. Great. And at that point, I realized that we had not gotten estimates, even though their report and my initial report said the HVAC unit needed to be replaced. They had not gotten an estimate as requested. I asked 5 more times for an estimate on that before they sent me an estimate that seemed way over FMV. I've done this before, so almost $5,000 for a new heating unit for a 1,200 square foot house seemed a little high. The unit itself I know cost about $1,500, so that seemed like a lot for labor. I asked them for another estimate. They said that was fair market value. That's the best we're gonna get. So I hit up Angie's List, and within an hour, I had a person install a better machine. Theirs had a 1-year warranty. This one had a 5-year warranty. It's a good win for a little over half the price that they were quoting, and that's before they even added their 10% service fee for, I don't know, charging whatever they do. So a little disconcerting, but anyhow, okay, fine. We're moving. My guy was great. He was, licensed technician. He installed the thing, but a little snag. He said, the only problem is we can't test it because the gas is not on. So I followed up again and I said, is this true? The second time we still didn't get the gas on? No answer. I followed up again. No answer. I followed up again, and they said, yep, gas is not on. Any idea why? Nope. Sorry. No, actually, I take that back. They didn't even say sorry. I just said no. Okay. And so at that point, I was, needless to say, sufficiently frustrated that I wanted to share my experience. I found managers, directors, whoever I could find an email for at Evernest, and very politely and professionally shared my experience and my concerns with the service that had been provided to date. Received no response. So at that point, after 2 months under their management, I still did not have a rent-ready home, on which I was obviously paying mortgage and utilities that were on anyway. I wound up canceling my contract. And interestingly enough, they found a way to keep my security deposit, even though I had fully funded everything they did up front and had a security deposit in there. Somehow they gave me a bill saying that, including my security deposit, didn't cover it, and I owed them another $80. So overall, the experience, in fact, was so bad that Evernest tainted me for this other very investor-friendly market, and quite honestly, I want out. The house is currently on the market. I will probably take a loss on it just after the experience. I'm just gonna go back to my market, what I manage, where I know. At this point, I decided to file a complaint with the Better Business Bureau. And again, very professionally, I will put a link to the letter that I attached to that complaint. Very clearly just stating here's what happened and here's why I'm dissatisfied, and received a response back that I will read for you. It says, I am sorry your experience with Evernest was not an enjoyable experience. After further review of your account, the renovation was completed. After further review, not compensation will be granted at this time. I hope the best for you in your future endeavors. Now, I don't know about you, but that sounded to me a lot like go f yourself. So, customer service definitely gets an A+. But unfortunately, there are some aspects to their services with which I was not quite as satisfied. So my overall rating for Evernest Property Management Services would be an F-. And final recommendations. If you are an investor thinking about working with Evernest Property Management to manage one of your properties, I suggest that instead you set the property on fire, which would undoubtedly be less costly and frustrating than working with Evernest. Hope this is helpful. Take care.